have some transactional leadership style. Some people have transformational leadership styles. Some people is hands off. They don't want to be in the forefront. They just want to lead from behind. All these styles are very good. But why exactly are we talking about these styles? Why are we discussing this? Why is it very important? It's for us to be able to develop our own leadership styles. It's very, very key and very, very critical. And if you ask me, what ways can we develop our leadership styles? The first thing is for us to actually understand the various types that we have in terms of leadership. And it takes a lot of effort. And we're going to do an exercise today just to be very reflective and for us to actually look, okay, what type of leader am I currently? What type of leader am I? Where do I have my strengths? Where do I have my weak points? Where are the areas where I need to focus on? Remember, when you understand your strengths and your weaknesses, you need to focus more on your strengths so that you can harness that and not on your weaknesses. I think that's what a lot of people do. That is not very effective. Some people discover their weaknesses and they focus so much on their weaknesses, trying to turn them to strengths. Whereas you can just focus on your strengths, make it better, and become a better version of yourself. The next one is to be very authentic, and I think is related to discovering yourself and all of that. And we're going to, like I said, we're going to do a very, very short exercise on that. The next one is finding a mentor. I think one of the key things I did very early on in my career is to actually find someone to mentor me. Find someone to, even before I graduated and all of that, I found a mentor. And I don't know if we can just, in that your notes, just jot down, do you have a mentor? Mentoring sometimes can expire over time. Did you have a mentor before now? Before now, currently, do you have a mentor? And think about it. Are you planning to have a mentor? Just note it down. Just note it down. And you have to also be very, very strategic in finding a mentor. The next one is to try, experiment. So a lot of times people ask, how can I experiment if I am not in a leadership role or a leadership position? I'm going to answer that in the next slide. And, a lot of people say, but I'm just a member of the team. Why are we talking so much about leadership when I'm just a young professional? I'm just starting my career. But it's beyond what we see as the top-bottom leadership, just from the top to the bottom. The other critical aspect is to always get feedback. A lot of times when we relate with our colleagues, we relate with other safety professionals, we are given opportunity like this to connect and, interact with people. It's very, very key for us to be able to reach out to them and ask for feedback. A lot of times people don't get feedback because we don't ask for it. So we have to be very intentional as someone that is ready to develop his or her own leadership styles, to seek for feedback, ask for feedback. And now we're going to do a very short exercise, like I said earlier. So I want you to take your pen, your notes and your pen, and just answer these questions. The questions are very straightforward. If you don't understand, you can ask me what the question is. 6 questions here. What do I value more? Is it goals or relationship? This is us trying to discover ourselves now. What do I value more? Is it goals or relationship? Do I believe in structure or do I believe in freedom of choice? Am I someone that, before I do something, I must state the beginning, from the beginning to the end, how it must be done, step by step by step? Would I rather make a decision on my own, or am I someone that is like a democratic leader, always seeking for collective decisions, coming together, or maybe someone like an affiliate leader, always collaborating and all of that? Do I focus on short or long-term goals? Am I about, oh, yes, let's do it quickly, quick wins? Or am I about, oh, what is it? What is in it for us in the long term? What can we do at least to remain sustainable in the next 30 years? Does motivation come from empowerment or direction? Are you motivated if you have all the skill sets that you need? If you're competent on whatever it is, if you have knowledge, are you motivated that way? Or are you motivated if someone tells you what to do? What does a healthy team dynamic look like to you? So Just think about it. If you belong to a team, what are the most important values and attributes for you within that team? Can we just do that? I'm going to give us very quick moments, so a few seconds. Let's do that. Just personal reflection. Answer these questions as much as you can, then we'll move on. Okay, I don't know if that was short, but based on the answers that you've provided, let's have a look at the different leadership styles again. Let's just have a quick look at it. Based on the answer that you've provided, what type of a leader do you think you are? Just personal reflection now, personal evaluation. Okay, so it will interest you that even after going through this, some of us will still believe that we don't fall in any of this category. It will interest you to know that. And that is why we're going to go through the next step, which is what are the various roles of leadership? This is very critical because a lot of times when you ask people, what is your role as a leader, then the answer you get, especially from young people, is I'm not a leader. What? No, I don't have a leadership title. I'm just a team player. I'm just a team member. However, there are 4 critical roles in leadership. The first one is self-leadership. This is where you lead yourself. And how do you lead yourself? You lead yourself by having, it's just like you have a team, you set objectives for the team, you have a team focus and all of that. The same way you set goals and objectives for yourself. You lead yourself by checking and, asking yourself, where do I want to be in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years? As a safety professionals, what are the certifications I need to attain? What are the things, the skills I need to develop? What are the kind of exposure I need to get for myself? What are the type of people I need to reach out to? Maybe you don't have a mentor. That could be a goal. In the year 2022, I want to find a mentor and keep an active relationship with that mentor. The next one is leading your peers. You lead your peers by opportunities like this. There is a young emerging professional team within this group, and you can volunteer to, give the description of talks, and maybe you've learned something within your current role and you just want to share with your peers. You're leading. That is a leadership characteristic. In lateral leadership. The next one, and this is the one that most people don't talk about, leading down. This is you leading your boss. Leading down. So the leadership is from down, it's from the bottom. Yeah. You are leading your boss. And how do you lead your boss? A lot of times, some people say, oh, it's not possible. But guess what? What if you have a knowledge that you can share with your boss? What if, there are some things that you can bring to the team? Maybe you have a fantastic idea. A lot of times, because we are not quote and unquote leaders, we don't have that title. We keep those ideas to ourselves. We don't reach out. As safety leaders, we need to be able to reach out, be authentic, reach out. And that way you can even lead people that are ahead of you. The other one, and this is the one that lots of people talk about, is leading your subordinates. I have subordinates. I am the team lead. Yes, I'm a leader. That one is the most apparent. But the other 3 are actually very, very important. And a lot of times you see that when a team is striving, it's actually because someone from the bottom is leading the bosses or people in charge, or leading the team, or leading the peers. Or maybe someone has decided as a person to be a self-leader, to lead themselves towards excellence. And in leading yourself, one thing we all need to understand is we need to be able to define our personal values. So let's just do another very quick exercise. Just think about it. What are the things that are most important to you? It could be caring for people. It could be integrity. it could be honesty, it could be excellence, it could be teamwork. What are those things that are most important for you? You need to write them down and maybe prioritize them. Which one is the most important? For some people, being excellent in everything is very important for them. For some people, the image that they portray as a person is the most important for them. But you as a person, you as a safety professional, what is that thing that is the most important for you? Those are the areas where you can lead and begin to find opportunities, to be a self-leader. Begin to find opportunities to be a lateral leader, to even lead your boss and, lead other people that are within your team as subordinates. Those values are very, very key. So if you've not noted it down, you can, beyond this session, just have a time for personal reflection and write down those things that you think are most important to you. Find your values and lead from your values. Very, very key. So let's bring it back home. We've talked a lot about leading ourselves, self-leadership. We've talked about lateral leadership. We've talked about leading our bosses and we talked about leading our subordinates. But as safety leaders, how can I stand out? Just personalize, think about it. How can I stand out? So that when people see me, even though I am not the team leader, I'm not, I don't have that title, they can say, truly, this person is truly a safety leader. The very first thing is to walk the talk. A lot of times, because we are safety professionals, we set out policies within our organizations. We ensure that people follow procedures. Safety of our organization is very key to us. We ensure everyone is protected, the environment is protected, our people are protected, our processes are protected, our equipment, our assets are protected. But do we personally walk the talk? And that is where personal leadership, self-leadership comes to play. It has to be visible that we are leading ourselves as role models. The next one is for us to really care. Really care. I'm not talking about, oh, yeah, I care, Show empathy. Show empathy as a safety leader. Show empathy. Understand what people are going through. Put yourself in others' shoes or put yourself even in your organization's shoes. If I am the owner of this company, how will I want to lead the safety of this organization? If I am the one making the decision, how will I really want to make that decision? Show concern, positive concern now. The other one is to build and live the vision. It's very, very key. A lot of times when we set out a journey or we're on a particular career path and we don't have a specific goal or vision for ourselves, then we set ourselves for failure. It's very, very easy. The easiest way to fail is when you don't have any aim, any objective, any focus, any targets. Yeah? Build and live the vision. Set the desired outcome. Set the desired goal. The other one is to drive thinking and speaking, the way we show up. This is beyond just physical safety, psychological safety. Changing the mindset. Okay, how do we ensure that we don't have complacency? How do we ensure that we don't normalize risk within our environments? Change the behavior, and the behavioral change or the behavioral change, the psychological change actually starts from the individual. And how do you do it is you start from yourself, self-leadership. You go to your peers, lateral leadership. You support your bosses. And of course, you lead the people that are your subordinates. So it's always starting with the self-leadership. And that is why I said that role of self-leadership is, in fact, the most critical. If you cannot successfully lead yourself as a safety leader or a safety professional, it's not possible to lead others. It's going to be very, very difficult. And that personal, that psychological change, that change of culture, of the way of reasoning has to start from us as professionals, as safety professionals. The other one is, as a leader, you need to be able to recognize opportunities for growth, not just for yourself, for people around you, for your team members, even for your bosses. If there's a particular safety training or certification that you think will be useful for your boss, introduce it to them. That way you lead them. If there are colleagues within your team that are not part of this very wonderful professional body, introduce it to them. That way you lead laterally. You know, we have to be able to take the forefront. The other one is to actually recognize people. When someone has done exceptionally well, celebrate and recognize them is very, very key. The same way you celebrate and recognize yourself. Some people, in fact, I have fallen into that. In fact, I have a whole story on, you know, being able to recognize and celebrate yourself. A lot of times, a lot of us fall into that. We are not, because there are a lot of things around us, we are not able to recognize ourselves and celebrate yourself. You have to be able to lead from that so that you can recognize and celebrate others as well. And that's where you'll be able to stand out. I'm going to leave us with this. A lot of times people say, oh, boss, you know, what we think is a leader is actually, in the real sense of it, a boss. But don't be a boss. Don't be someone that, you know, just has the name, always creating fears, always micromanaging people, always demanding respect. You know, it's always commanding. Don't be that authoritarian, but be a leader, an exceptional leader, an inspiring leader, a motivating leader, a leader that is a coach, someone that makes other people feel valued and respected, someone that actually trusts people to be able to perform their job, someone that leads themselves in a way of leading others. Don't be a boss. Please, let's be a leader. So let's go back to that first question we had in the beginning. Maybe think about it again. Who is a leader? Think about that first person you wrote down in your notes, that exceptional leader. Now, imagine that name that you've written down is you. Do you see yourself as a leader? And that is a question for us to reflect on. Now that we know we can lead ourselves, we know we can have lateral leadership, we know we can lead our bosses, and we know we can lead our subordinates. Do you see yourself as a safety leader? Do you see yourself as a young professional, but also a leader in the capacity that you find yourself? So I'm going to leave us with that question. Just think about it. It's a lot of self-reflection. It's a lot of finding ourselves, understanding our values, and being able to lead from in out so that we can be exceptional and stand out at the end of the day. So I will take questions now. Please, let's have some questions. I know I don't want it to be like, oh, just me talking. Did anything pop up to you while we're talking about that? What are the challenges in leading your own self? What are the challenges in leading your bosses, or what are the challenges in leading peers? Have you ever faced anything that you'd like to share? Let's have the questions, please.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Hi, how are you?
Very well.
Also congratulations for this section. And I thank the team in the Nigerian chapter for making this happen. And this particular topic which you are addressing is what we're talking about at another forum, which kept me a bit late before joining this. And it's all about safety professional taking the leadership role. And in most cases, what we have seen in recent time is when we talk about that safety, and I am part of that as well, when we say safety is common sense, that is not common. And the question that was brought up in that forum, have you ever seen a situation where you feel that the workers are behaving, or the people you are leading, you feel they are behaving stupidly? And why? Because your communication is not reaching out to them and they are not getting back to you as well. So you feel that they are behaving stupidly. But in the real sense, as safety professional, we should always first look inward.
Correct.
Am I really communicating as leaders? And in some of the investigation we reviewed, we discovered that most procedural failure, most errors that we feel that the workers or the people we lead are falling victim of is actually as a result of we not communicating, not leading as expected as a leader, following all these principles that you have just laid out in this presentation. And it's something we need to take away from that that training which I attended. And what I'm going to do after this section, I'm going to share it with the Nigerian chapter organizer, so they forward it to everyone that participated in this section. Excellent presentation. I adore my cap for your effort and for putting this together and for the good work you've done to get this message to the professional and especially to the young professional coming up. They are the people that will change the way we think as safety professional. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir. I really do appreciate it. I see another person's hand up. Olabode Oloshunde, sir. You can go ahead, sir.
Thank you so much for the wonderful and impactful presentation. Actually, this cut across every facet of our career line, and which I really appreciate. Now, how do you handle an envious leader? For example, now maybe the leader discovered that when you bring up an idea and you will now begin to think, why couldn't be me that could have said this? Oh, this one is not trying to take my position. Oh, this one is not trying to show himself or herself that he or she is much more better. So when you are in a situation like that, you know, you talk about leading yourself, leading your peers, leading your boss and co. So when it comes to the aspect of, do I call it envious or jealous, or I'm looking for the right career, or let me say professional term to use along that line. And eventually it leads to that leader discrediting anything that comes from that subordinate. Situations like that, what do you think a subordinate can do? Thank you so much.
Yeah, many thanks for that.
1 minute, Tolu. Thank you very much. Before, just have that question in mind. I presume that the formal presentation has ended, right?
Yes, sir.
Exactly. If that has ended, we will need to moderate the number of persons because of our time constraints and all of that. The kind of questions we will have to take. I can see a few hands coming up right away, and we'll take it up from there. Since you still remember the last question, you can proceed with that, and subsequently we follow up by nominating or calling individuals who will have their hands on the screen to go ahead with it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, many thanks for that. There was a particular session I sat at 2 weeks ago, and I was speaking with the CEO of one of these tech companies, and he was talking about communication and the fact that sometimes a lot of difficult situations that we find ourselves is because we don't communicate enough. In fact, he ended up saying that over-communicate solves everything. When you over-communicate, a lot of times we believe some of these leaders are envious, whereas in the true sense of it, they're just marveled by the kind of exceptional leaders that we have. So I believe talking about it, communicating about it, share how exactly you feel with the leader. That goes a long way to help. Maybe we might have a different perception of what it is. But remember, we all do all of this out of respect. So even the way we are trying to lead our boss, we lead also with respect, which is very, very key. So I'll stop at that point and hand it over to the coordinator, facilitators to help us with the subsequent questions.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Let me just lend a voice to that for your fine answer. By the way, it was a lovely presentation. The beauty about it is that it's already in consonance with what we are doing with the mentoring. And I believe that a lot of us who are joining here, there is a part of the group that looks after the YEP mentor, leadership mentoring. And if you come back later, we'll talk about it. With respect to envious boss, yeah, like you rightly answered, some are really not envious. They are loving what you are doing. They are marveled at that. But we can't write that out, that there are people who in our workplaces obviously are really in that perspective. But the approach is that we will have to learn to manage our boss. We learn to manage those who are ahead of us. And what does that mean? Leading bottom up means that, you mentioned it in your presentation, means that you seek out what is best interest of your boss, what projects your boss to be in the front, at the forefront of things. When he or she sees that you are not trying to usurp his position, you are not trying to undermine the person, his role, and all of that, the envy part will gradually go away, and he or she will take you on board. When he takes you on board, you have led your leader. And by the way, whenever you break these ice, these ice, as soon as you have done this, believe you me, you are going to be the one that your boss is going to project. Whatever he does, whatever she does, that confidence level has been built, and you are going to be projected. And beyond your imagination, you will excel. So first of all, learn to manage your boss, lead bottom up, know what he or she wants, and try to do that. Project your boss. Let him take the glory. As he's taking the glory, she's taking the glory, they will realize that you are definitely important.
Mr. George, I don't know if I can just lend a little.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, my boss and mentor.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation, and I want to appreciate as many of us that are in this meeting. Just to lend a little voice to what Mr. George rightly said. You see, definitely you can't rule out envious bosses. It's always what it is, but in the place of loyalty, definitely you pull through. You just need to be loyal to your leader at every point in time. Just like Mr. George rightly said, let him see that all what you are actually doing is to the betterment of the organization and even to him. It's not as if you want to usurp his authority. So that we can't rule out 100% loyalty. Even if he's doing something untoward towards you, just continue to maintain your focus and just be doing what you are doing. At the end of the day, you'll agree with me that he will change his ways, and he will actually, the moment that you notice that you are loyal, definitely things will change, and before you know it, he will actually appreciate all what you have put on the table. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. George.
Thank you, Mr. Festus. Wonderful. I was about to ask, calling on Ine to do the questioning. The hands has always been up for a while now. Please, can you proceed with your question or comment?
Okay. Good morning, everybody. And thank you so much, the presenter in person of Tolu Togbe. I sincerely appreciate this presentation. Like she has put it right, that some of us are actually bosses that are safety professionals. I agree with her. But, you know, in this safety profession, we always give regards to the top management, because if the top management does not support you in any organization, it will be very difficult for you to succeed. So that being said, if, for example, you as a person, you've been able to lead yourself, lead a few groups within you, and then perhaps in a larger organization, you have so many recommendations to make to enhance or change the safety culture positively this time, and then you are not having a support of your top management, because before you even came into the system, they've already been in existence and have been doing their things their way, and perhaps getting the results and getting away with being armed or so. So they see you now perhaps as something or someone they want to use in filling a gap, because they're looking for contract, or they're looking just to fill the legal requirements, so to say. So making it very difficult for you to fulfill that potential of the leadership that you are supposed to portray, because you're going to cut across every unit of the organization. So how do you come in here to display that leadership quality effectively? That's my question. Thank you.
Okay. Do you want me to take that, or should we take all the questions and I try to answer?
If you are in a position to, if you can note them down
Okay.
and repeat that, then why not? So can we listen to take another question? Are you ready for that?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Mr. Udeme Asanga, can you unmute and ask your question, please?
Hello, good morning, everybody. Hello, good morning. Oh, shit.
Yeah, good morning. We can hear you.
I hear you.
Okay, sir. Good morning. Yeah, I'm happy to be in this presentation. This is my first time attending the safety presentation. I'm Udema Sanga from Calabar. I work with Transcorp Hotels on the electrical. I faced some things here when I came here newly. I'm like 3 months here now. I'm an upcoming safety professional, and I've discovered that Transcorp Hotels lack a lot in safety. I discovered that when I try to bring up some ideas here, some of the workers here are not reasoning the same way I reason. They're always saying that I'm trying to see myself or take myself up, saying that I'm more important. And I try to tell them something that I've gone through a lot, and I'm thinking about the safety and workplace. And this kind of situation, how do I relate with them? So I'm trying to avoid being victimized also. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a very important question. I believe that not only the presenter would do it, all of us will also share our experience in that regard. And our final question and comment will be coming from Babatunde Adesugba. Tunde, you can unmute and just go ahead with your question or comment.
All right, George, just please confirm you can hear me.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Sure.
Loud and clear.
All right, so thanks Tolu. I was really looking up to this session, and I would really say excellent presentation. I really enjoyed how you tried to break it down, right, from talking about leadership then into safety leadership. So mine really is not a question, but I think more of a contribution, and I hope I probably won't be jumping into answering some of those questions that have been answered or asked earlier. So it's really looking deep into safety leadership and understanding what really safety leadership is about. And I think Tolu really did justice to that. And just trying to reflect on some of those questions. I mean, first is really seeing ourselves as leaders and understanding what leaders are meant to do or what leaders do. And leadership is really not just by saying I'm a leader. And I think we talked about it in some of the previous, one of those previous sessions. It's really understanding what the responsibilities of leaders are, having the capabilities and competence to be a leader, and also being able to communicate, which is really very critical. I think one of the essential part of the characteristics of a safety leader. So having the competence, giving you the confidence rather, to then communicate, whether it's the risk, whether it's the hazards, whether it's the controls, whether it's about making business cases to leaders, where you can also lead leaders or management about certain things that they need to be aware to make effective decisions. So it's really about understanding what really the characteristics of a leader is or are, and then fitting ourselves into that role, and then trying to do more like a self-assessment. Where are the areas where I really need to develop myself to become a safety leader? Where are the strengths that I have? How can I further? I think Tolu also talked a lot about that. How can then I harness that strength to be able to really achieve the objective, which is ensuring that everybody goes home safely? But also, how then do I make justifications or business cases to leaders to be able to understand where I'm coming from, which is also where we talk about communication. So just as young emerging professionals, let's really think about it that way. First, understand that everyone is a safety leader, irrespective of the position. It might be the cleaner, it might be the driver, it might be the leader, it might be the manager, it might even be the safety personnel. So we are all safety leaders. And it's really about living collaboratively. So trying to work as a team and trying to make people understand why they need to do what they need to do to stay safe. And I think all that really would help us to be able to achieve goal zero. Does it sound as easy as I said it? No. So, but then understanding what to do will probably be the starting point to enabling us achieve success as safety leaders. So really excellent presentation. Thanks a lot, Tolu. I think we really that really would help us to deeply reflect on our journey into safety leadership. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tunde. Tolu, I mean, the question was directed to you. We would like to hear your version of it. There are a couple of other persons who would want to answer.
Okay.
After Tolu, then I'll call Mr. Abiodun to help us with what he wants to say. By the way, Ini, can you help me and bring down your hands, please, so that I will know whose hands are actually there. Tolu, go ahead, please.
Okay, so I would, because we already have a lot of people on the call that would like to contribute to this, so I'll just take the second question and leave the first one for others to contribute, because I think it was related to the very first question that we had before. So the second question, if I understand clearly, was talking about perception. You know, people, you're in a new organization and you're bringing a lot of safety leadership ideas, and how do you ensure that you're not victimized? How do you ensure that people don't see you as you're trying to show off, and at the end of the day, you're not victimized in all of that? I think the key message here is intent. How do we communicate the intent? Because the intent of us trying to be safety leader is not just to be selfish, is for the overall safety of our organization, overall safety of our people, our assets, environment, and all of that. So how do we communicate our intent? And one thing, I think this has happened to me before, not in regards to safety leadership, but there was a bright idea I had, and it was so difficult to communicate with people, and it was looking as if, oh, this person is trying to show off, this person, you know, will wait for her and all of that. I think one key thing is to be able to communicate the intent. And how do you show it? You show it by role modeling, but beyond role modeling, because a lot of times we role model is not enough for people. We need to be able to raise awareness. And one key thing that really helped me at that point in life was to actually find someone that believed in that vision, find a sponsor, someone that has influence. If maybe your influence is not enough to convince people and so that you're not victimized and all of that, find someone that supports that vision, that you're able to sell that vision to, that you're able to communicate that safety leadership vision to, and can sponsor it. Once you find that sponsor, it will be easy to be able to reach out. Then that sponsor can actually lead laterally at that person's level to be able to influence others. So finding the sponsor actually helped me to spread out the message and to make people understand that, oh, the intent for this is not to show off. The intent for this is not to be, to be look good or to, just show off and all of that. The intent was for collective success, collective safety and all of that. So once you're able to find that sponsor that can help, communicate the message better and all of that, it goes a long way. Again, all of this is still tied to communication, raising awareness, telling people the intent of what you're doing. Don't just tell them what to do. Tell them why this is important to them. And that way you're able to communicate better. So thank you very much. I'll leave the other ones for other people on the call to be able to contribute.
All right, just before it escapes, Mr. Abiodun also want to lend a voice to this second part of the question. So can you go ahead, sir, please?
Thank you very much again, and thank you very much for the presenter for responding to that question. That particular questions that we had last is a critical question that is really happening to even our experienced professional, and it's an area which we really need to help people with. And the speaker has also mentioned that you need to find a sponsor. And when she said find a sponsor, the next questions I want to support to what she has said is, how do you identify a sponsor? In communication, it's been identified that when you communicate to a group, you are actually communicating to about 20 to 25% of the entire population. But when you communicate to an individual on a face-to-face interaction, it is agreed as well that you will get up to 60% of your message pass. And the next question is how. When you are communicating with an individual, to really source a sponsor within an organization, you must be able to tell a story and put empathy into it. So that speaker that asked that question, it applies to all of us. that when you are trying to pass a message, a new initiative across, you must try to look for sponsor. That means you need to make it individual and personalized. So that particular last speaker expressed that he's being victimized. So he needs to be able to tell a story around it. If you remember when they talk about the life of Obama, when he's presenting his speech, there's always a story he puts to his speech that will create your attention. So if that last speaker is showing that he wants to put safety into the organization, he needs to be able to say why and let them feel the understanding that to him personally, this is what he experienced, so that that person will really get that message and he will be able to get a kind of support and sponsorship from such individual that he has spoken to. So he needs to go around within an organization. When you first join an organization, see people that have the like minds by engaging them personally and attach that engagement with a story that has empathy, that you saved your own, I saved my own son's life. When I was talking to someone at some point, when my little daughter picked up this freshener, camphor, the small one, and put it in her nose, I came back from work, we were all done, but we took her to the hospital. So what message do I want to pass on? That every other thing that could result into an accident, can we keep it away? And it also applied to the work environment. I got a lot of support and sponsorship. People say, you are very right. It could happen to me. It could happen to my son. It could happen at my work, you know, and people that I love. So you must, as professional, we need to look for that stories that we will attach to whatever initiative you want people to buy into. And that will go a long way. And that will help the last speaker and every individual of us. Whatever initiative we have, we must engage people and also listen to them. When we communicate to them, listen to them, because they will shape your initiative to be able to fit into the culture of the organization you've just joined. It's important that you also understand the culture, and you can achieve that by having that individual engagement for people that matters within the organization. They will tell you the current culture, and they will tell you how your initiative can fit into that culture, depending on where you're coming from. Thank you very much. It was really, really a great session and being part of you guys. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I mean, if we go on, that has a long way. But just on a small final note before we go to the next question or the last one for us to go, there is something they call Kaizen in project management. Kaizen means, in other way, finding excellence and removing waste, and you just have to do it in a sharp and fast way. Mr. Inia, or the person who questioned the last one that all of us has answered, let me sum up all the things they have said put together. What you are doing right now in your company is that you are initiating change. You are changing, handling change. And for such a change, you have to use change management tactics. So they said sponsor, they said influencers. Let me bring it back to that. Find someone you would call the change agent. Now, your change agent shouldn't be your boss, because your boss is going to come back with the same feeling that they are already having on you. Look among the work folks there. Who do you think have an influence? Who do you think they talk to, they go back to, they relate to, they have special respect for? Is it an elderly person? Is it a lady? Is it a supervisor? Is it a foreman? Then form an engagement. All those communication is go and form an engagement. And one way I have learned in my educational career is one engagement is this. Can you just, for this person, take it out of official situation, have a lunch, have a dinner, have a social sitting. That is the icing of the cake, the networking. Bring this person back to your level, relax in a normal atmosphere, then you tell your story. You gist the person and let the person know from the perspective you are coming from. You're not coming from as a boss. You don't want to change the status quo all of a sudden, but you have their interest at heart. This is the superb. Immediately you get this change agent and you are able to let him or her buy in, is going to diffuse into the rest of the person, because the person is going to go back and go say, hey, oh, look, Tolu is not as we see him or see how. She's a very nice woman. Let's listen to what she's saying. and gradually you are beginning to make an inroad into their hearts. Every one of us face this, but remember, leadership is a journey. It's not something that happens all of a sudden. You have to chip off the resistance one after the other. Then successfully and consistently, you will get to where you want to. So look, please, the last one, I don't know if you remember the last question, and the first question, I said you could jot it down. I don't know, did you? And let's address that. That probably will be.
Yes, I tried to. That was the one from Pini Hudo, talking about in an organization where, it's just like we are just filling the gaps. Everything we are doing, it's just like a filling the gaps and all of that. So it's quite related to the first question as well, on what exactly can we do so that we don't end up looking as if we are trying to show off, and some leaders might be envious, or we are not trying to go beyond what they are doing and all of that. So, because if an organization is just looking at safety as a tick in the box, then there's a lot that has to change in the way we see things. I don't know if Mr. Ini, I don't know if I communicated that very well. Maybe you want to add to that.
I think we are already running out of time. I'm just afraid to announce that. It's a lovely section and we are running out of time. So I would want some other question if need be. I think we can get back to Mr. Abano or get to our platform. We will share whatever question that comes across back to Tolu, and every other professional can add to that. Abano, are you at the background there? Can you hear me? So that you proceed with that. The next is to do the needful, the presentation of certificates to our presenter.
Yes, Mr. Josh. Good morning, all. To present the certificates to our speaker for today, I'll call on Mr. Camille Abiodun, SSP Regional Vice President. Sorry, Doctor, please can you stop sharing so I can share your certificates? Okay. Mr. Camille, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. And again, I am the area director for for Area 2, Region 9 for ESSP. And Miss Tolu Lokwe, correct me if I'm wrong, Miss or Mrs. Tolu Lokwe Ajitono, I want, on behalf of the ASSP Nigerian chapter and the ASSP regional and the globe, I must tell you this opportunity you've had to talk to this able professional body and professional mind here today goes a long way to make an impact, and it sits on our values of advocacy, how to improve advocacy of safety globally. And within the Nigerian chapter space, this particular presentation will go a long way to make an impact, to improve the professional, for us to really get the message of safety advocacy out there. And on behalf of the chapter, on behalf of the executive and president, and the entire ASSP members, I present these certificates in recognition for volunteering for ASSP Nigerian chapter as a speaker on the topic leadership style and role, emerging safety professional perspective. And you are actually presenting within the young emerging professional section of the chapter, which you're actually speaking to the right team and also to the entire safety profession on this day, 4th of December, 2021. I present to you, Tolu, and you stand tall as a leader, and I wish you all the best. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Yeah, many thanks for that. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I was about calling you to give a small remark, but you've already answered it. And because in view of our time, I will quickly go. Unfortunately, our president seemed to have left the network now.
No, I'm around.
Oh, okay, excellent. So, Mr. President, the floor is open for your announcement.
All right. Thank you very much, coordinator, and welcome our regional director. Thank you very much. It was an excellent presentation, Mr. Tolu Lupe Ejet Tony. Mr. Treasurer, I hope I have met.
No, you mother it. It's Tolu
You
Lope
murdered it, Mr.
Ichitono.
President. You murdered it, bro. Let's
Just no problem. Go ahead.
Presentation. Thank you. We really appreciate. And I want to remind members that still the ongoing registration for our upcoming professional development conference is ongoing. We urge each and every one of us to Zoom up and register in time. And also we have a next webinar coming up from the Global by next week, Saturday on the 11th. So endeavor to register and join in time. The flyer will soon come up. And also the call for abstract is still ongoing, has been extended some days. So please, for those that wanted to present, please make your submission to our chairman, TGC, Dr. Ukandi, President-elect. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. President. A lovely one at that. Okay, and we are just close to the end, about closing this particular session. And we will call on our immediate past president, Mrs. Mercy Irefo. If she's here connected, I can see her, to just give us a brief closing remark, as brief as she can make it. You're welcome, my IPP. Are you there?
Greetings, everyone. Am I being heard?
Loud and clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much for organizing such a wonderful presentation. On behalf of the president, the executives, the coordinator for young emerging professionals, and all that had put this together, I want to say a special thank you to Madam Tolu for this wonderful presentation. Of course, you have taught us so much of the strategies we need to know as leaders, and then the challenges we need to face and how we need to see ourselves. And for all those that had contributed, had keenly listened, I have learned, and I know everyone on this platform today have learned. It was a huge turnout. For as many that took their time to join us today, I want to say a very big thank you. And I know that you all learned like me as well. Madam, our doors are always open. Because this was wonderful, be rest assured that we are going to call on you again. And if we do, please gladly accept our request. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, coordinator. And thank you all my executives for a wonderful day. Thanks and God bless you all.
Excellent one, madam, once again. All right, for our closing, I will indulge or crave your indulgence, let me put it that way, that we take a group photograph. And to that end, I will say, please, can you, if you are decent enough from your side, to turn on your camera? Let's just take a group photograph, we'll take a snapshot of that. All of these will make up our record for the year, please. That would be nice. I will give us like 1 minute or less than that as we turn up. If there is need, those who are there, I'll just take a good photograph, a snapshot from here. Yeah, I can see people are turning out now. That's fine. That's fine. Excellent. Good, good. Oh, nice, beautiful. I love this. I love this. Just keep going, keep going. We're almost like 60%. 60% done. Should I give a little more time? Okay. All right. I'm going to take it now. If you're ready, I'm going to take it now. At the count of 3, 2, 1, 0. One more. just for clearance. 3, 2, 1, 0. Beautiful. Thank you very much, every one of us, for making this a success. Tolu, one more time. This is an encouragement to join us. Come and buy it and become a member. It's open to everyone. Okay. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
My IPP, I cite you.
Well done, well done.
This is God. Well done, sir.
IPP.
All right.
All right, sirs. Have a nice day. Nice weekend.
Nice weekend.
Bye, everyone.
Madam, good morning.
Good morning.
My president.
I greet you, sir. Well done. Good to see you again.
Madam, good to hear your voice.
My president, well done, sir.
Good to hear your voice, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. George, thank you so much.
Engineer Bamiro, I hail you.
Well done.
Good to see you.
Thank you, President.
My area director.
Thank you.
My area
Well
director.
done.
Very interesting topic today.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll carry it over.
Yeah.
Thanks. Bye.
President.
How are you doing? Well done. All right.